Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we will be
showing you guys what is an average cost in Serbia for a family of two.
how much we spent. So I don't know if it will be a lot for you guys or will be less. Comment down below what you think and let's get to the video.
Let's go. September 2024, we decided to keep track of our monthly spendings in Čačak, Republika Serbia, so we can see how expensive or how cheap it is to live here, depending from which angle are we spectating, and how much would one average family need monthly to survive or to live normally, let's say. So to do this, first we created a table where we would track, for example, four of the main stores chains in the country that are present in the city of Čačak, to see how much do we spend per each of them, and they would be separated per days. So this would be day one, this would be day two, and all the way to 30 or 31 days. I forgot how much in September. Um, so also next to the four stores, we added eating out whenever we went for some fast food or restaurant. Rent utilities, basically our rent because we don't own an apartment, and utilities for internet costs, electricity, water, or everything else basically. Other would be some things that are unrelated to the food and general groceries, which means something we liked. For example, we bought wall clock, we bought iron, steam iron, and similar stuff like that, and also small other small stores that are not included in these four here. And daily total would be the sum of how much would we spend in one day in this column. Next to that, we also created a small table which is named car investments. Basically, for everything that we purchased, maybe the service of a car, new tires, or something like that, we would put here. And fuel in this column, how much do we spend monthly? We don't really drive car too much, so I think once monthly would be enough to fill up the tank. So we also kinda took out all of the important, let's say, facts here. So monthly cost total, how much we did spend in 1 month without saving, without just going out normally, living normally. Monthly cost without rent. Then this one, maybe someone has an apartment or a house, so he doesn't have to pay the rent. So this is just for comparison. Utilities, just utilities separated to see how much would someone pay for utilities. For example, if you have food, if you have an apartment, in some case that you are visiting some family, you want to help them with utilities, this is usually how much would it cost. Of course, this varies because maybe someone has more expensive way of heating or similar. Then food and other, basically how much do we need to have for food monthly, including some other small purchases like that iron I mentioned. Then monthly for the car, this one is a bit different. This one is not just how much did we spend in 1 month on a car. If we, for example, do a service that is around 100 euros, we don't include the whole price into this specific field. This one is basically created in a way that we have one, let's say, small service of a car is done yearly or every 10,000 kilometers. Usually for normal people, it's yearly, once a year, which means the amount that we pay for this 100 euros, we're going to split it in 12 months. And then we're going to add that to the total monthly cost. That's what we did with tires, big service, and everything else related to the car except fuel costs. Fuel costs we just added directly from here to the monthly cost. And monthly cost, if we say it up, is the last category where we put basically we reduced the amount based on if we had some stuff that we purchased that we didn't really need, but we still spent on them. Also eating out, we reduced. And this would be like kind of, okay, let's save up, let's not really spend too much money. Not really sacrificing everything, but just saving up, let's say at least more than 50% of times, or 60. When we didn't need something, we wouldn't buy it, let's say. So let's go to our table here. Um, it's for the month of September, as we mentioned. So our big chains here are Maxi, Idea, then of course Setaphore is not that big, but it's pretty cheap. So and place where we often buy things, so that's why we put it on this in this table. And Lidl, we have standard three other columns, which are eating out, rent and utilities, and other general stuff. So here we have an amount that we spent and some short description. So basically, sometimes we buy some cheese, so we can, as part of groceries, so we can make some food home, some pies just to get a snack, let's say, and bread to have it home. Then sometimes we just sweets with water and juices. Water, I don't know, some people drink it from a tap, some don't. For us, we kind of switched recently to bottled water, so that's why that kind of increased the cost a bit. In some other cases, it would be some fruits, again, beans, depending, like mayonnaise. But generally, if we went through these items with a bit more detail, for example, here we can see that Jaffa cakes, lettuce one bunch, batch, let's say one batch of lettuce and pasta costed like 430 dinars, which would be something like 3.5 euros. Milk, pasta, chicken, celery, and sweets, several different kinds of cookies, would be something like 920 dinars, which would be like 8 euros approximately. I'm not really getting out exact conversions. Most of these stores have similar prices, except Setafor, which is usually much cheaper prices, except fruit, than other stores. For example, who would buy that big round lighting bulb for 350 dinars? That's basically 3 euros. Or let's say some snacks and juice for 3.5 euros. Nuts, oat flakes, water, one big 6-liter bottle, bananas and mandarin for like 730 dinars, which is like 6 euros. As you can see, we were buying different things. Sometimes in Lidl, we would buy butter spray, chips, 2 chocolates, chicken spice, for example, mango, bread, different kinds of fruits and veggies, and all of that would go out to 10 euros, a bit more, 10.5 euros. So, not to go anymore into this, let's go to see the interesting ones, these 3 last ones. For example, eating out. Eating out, sometimes you take 2 punjena pleskavica, stuffed burger, let's say, with 2 juices. So both of us can drink and food, and one of these is pretty much enough for anyone to be, let's say, full. For someone not, but most of people, let's say average people. All of this total was 920 dinars, which is like 8.2 euros, let's say, or 8 euros. Then sometimes we would go to Cayman and buy fish soup, let's say, bowl of fish soup and bowl of stew. We would buy pancakes in the nearby fast food store. Cornichoni, those are those small cucumbers, and some juice. We buy all of that for like less than 10 euros. And that was kind of every second day, let's say, in average. Sometimes it would be gyros, sometimes it would be, again, pancakes. Uh, okay, one chicken. Okay, this is probably also, yeah, this is also fast food. Then this one would be like not really fast food, but cooked food, satarash with cheese, rice, and beans in bakery, let's say. Uh, so generally, that's eating out. And when it comes to eating out, every so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times we were eating out. Sometimes just something sweet, but rarely like here. Everything else would be like real food. And for eating out 10 times, we spent 67.98 euros, which approximately is 6.7 euros a day in those 10 days. If we counted the whole month, then it would be much less daily, but that doesn't make sense. So we're gonna just skip that. For rent and utilities, so our rent and some fees come around 36,000 dinars, which is like 300 euros. Then we have our internet and TV, which is like around 40 euros. We have this is some additional internet that I also purchased the package because if this one is unstable, I can always use this one for my work. Then this is for our mobile phones. We are having bundles and also paying off the phone monthly as a device that I took from A1. And totally monthly is coming around 7k to 9k depending what do we do, which is 60 to 80 euros. And it's gonna last for 2 years, and then after 2 years I have paid off the device, so it's gonna drop to maybe 25 euros for both of us for packages with unlimited internet and like 400 minutes, 400 messages monthly, and also internet for abroad, let's say, some several gigabytes, maybe 6, 7. Also, next to that, we have electricity, which during the summer is not really much. This is the month when they somehow skipped reading how much did we spend. So basically, kilowatts. So basically, this is the basic fee that every house pays, every apartment. Usually, that's around 3,000 dinars or 25 euros, up to 4,000 dinars, which would be 33 euros, let's say, during the summer. And during the winter when we need heating, and in this specific apartment heating is uses electricity, in that case it comes even up to 70 euros monthly electricity, and that's maybe 4 or 5 months a year depending. And this is something that's not really needed, but for me sometimes I'm paying monthly Xbox subscription, which is 950 dinars, which is like 8.5 euros, 8 euros. Totally, utilities monthly come to 445 euros or $500 if you like in dollars. And regarding the other category, there is a lot of stuff here. So basically, almost every day we buy something. Rarely we would skip days like this. Again, this other category basically is not using the main stores and not eating out, but sometimes it would be some food from bakery, let's say. And if we look at the categories now, regarding the stores, famous stores, in Maxi we spent 72.8 euros or $81.5. In Idea we spent around 34.5.6 euros or $39 approximately. In Svetofor where everything is pretty cheap, we spent around 77 euros or $86.3. In Lidl, that is very similar amount, $85 or 75, 76, let's say, euros. For eating out, as we mentioned earlier, 68 euros monthly or 76.14 US dollars. Rent and utilities was, as we mentioned earlier, 500 US dollars or 445 euros. And on everything else, we spent hefty amount, 189, let's say 190 euros or $211. So, daily total for each day of September was different, basically depending on utilities mostly, because utilities were really high cost. But we have an average number out of all of these days combined, including this one with zero, where we spent nothing during the day, which comes down to 32 euros daily average or $36. So if you're gonna live without some restrictions, living normally, again without going too much to restaurants, let's say, daily cost would be something around 32 euros for everything if you paid for utilities, for apartments. But again, not in Belgrade, not in the capital, in some smaller city. In some cities it would be even cheaper. In some cities it would be more expensive. So this definitely varies depending on the place where you are. In Belgrade, it probably be double or triple. Again, this is the price. All of this that we mentioned is price for two people living, some average family, let's say. Maybe, let's say, without kids. If you have kids, then it's maybe four people, let's say. Then, average daily food uh, with other stuff included. So, which means only two of these columns. And because in other stuff we also have a lot of food. Most of it is actually food. So that's why this number is 2000 dinars or 17 euros or $19.31. This is average daily that you're gonna spend on food, unless you are going to some restaurants more often, let's say. In this case, we kind of avoided going to restaurants just because of, we visited fast food restaurants, of course, but other restaurants, let's say, because the cost would pile up quickly. So, total monthly, we spend 963 euros. Of course, there is so many cases where people don't have to pay rent, so this number would be lower. And with us, that would be like 650 euros monthly, approximately 652.6. If we didn't have to pay the rent, which is the realistic number for many people who actually live in Serbia. For two people, again. In dollars, that would be $730. Then, total spent for food and other stuff, which means including the Tyron, that clock, and other similar things, some TEM orders, AliExpress orders, that are not huge, like 40 euros, let's say 39.3 euros. Including all of that, um, we have spent 60,000 dinars, which is like 517 euros or $518. How do you prefer it? And lastly, for some people, it's important to know how much are utilities, depending what do you use, what kind of heating, what kind of internet provider do you have, what packages with TV and similar, and other services. In our case, that was like almost 16,000 dinars or 135 euros In dollars, that would be $151.7 for utilities. And all of this together combined bring us to $1,080 monthly total cost. Here we have some other, let's say, features of that we have taken out of the table. Average eating out is like 800 dinars daily, or €7, $7.5. So now we move to the next table with car investments. In this month, we have to do big service that is usually done every 4 or 5 years. Mostly is depending on actually how many kilometers did you travel with your car. And in our case, we also did change some strings, amortization. Everything was 40,000 dinars, like around 350 euros. We fueled the car once, 7.1k dinars, which is actually 60 euros, 60.6. And we also purchased a package for help on the road in case the car stops or something. We always can call Atlas guys. In this case, um, there is many providers, whichever you like, you can choose, of course. But it's important because once we had a case where we didn't have this, and then we have to call, we have to pay some prices like 100, 200 euros. So I would recommend anyone to get this insurance help on the road, no matter which company you choose. So everything totally in this month went to 47,000 dinars for car investments. But since that's not really, we cannot really add this amount to total amount here, because then it wouldn't be right. Because, for example, next month we wouldn't have to do it. We wouldn't have to do this for next 3 years, 4 years. So that's why we have made a separate table for car investments. So, for example, help of the road, we pay that yearly, 7,000 dinars. If it's yearly, we divide it by 12, and we get around 600 dinars monthly cost. And then this number we're gonna add up to the total number here. So that's how we did this. This 600 dinars is like around 5 euros. Then also something that we did is big service plus amortization, like usually 5, 6 years, 4 years, depending on a user. We paid 40,000 dinars for this, or 341 euros. These are values in dollars. Then regular yearly car service, that's a small service as they call it here. It's around 100 euros yearly, which means divided by 12 comes around 1,000 dinars, which we added to this amount total. Next, tire change. Some people change it every 3 years, depending until the warranty of new tires that they purchased goes out. Some people buy used tires, so they pay even cheaper than this. Some of the people buy even more expensive tires. For us, it was 35,000 dinars, or around 300 euros every 4 years. So we will divide this number by 48, because 4 years is equal to 48 months, and we will add that number 6 euros monthly to this number here. Then we have brake change. Total everything is 25,000 dinars, or 213 euros. That happens approximately. This is just approximate. Some people before, some people later. Every 5 years, it comes down to 3.5 euros monthly. And registration and insurance, you have to do that every year. It's around 25,000 dinars for our car. For some cars, some bigger cars, let's say more powerful, is like maybe even 60,000, depending. We are going on a budget side, so for us that's 2,000 dinars monthly, or 17 euros monthly. Everything added up here comes down to 56.5 euros monthly. And when it comes to car investments. And when we add fuel that we spent, or let's say the money we spent on the fuel, we get 13,000 dinars or 117 euros monthly. So this is a number that the average citizen in Serbia who owns a car will spend on a car, everything combined monthly. So this is basically a monthly number that you're gonna have to add up to the total cost with rent and food and everything else. And now that obviously increased the total cost, which is now 1,080 euros, almost 1,100 euros monthly, or if you prefer US dollars, it's around 1,210 US dollars monthly for everything you need in Serbia. Obviously, for people who are used to spending more, who come from abroad, they will be spending several thousand dollars or maybe a few thousand euros monthly, but that depends on the budget. So basically, if we exclude rent here, it's gonna be 90,000 dinars. If someone has a house, owns an apartment, let's say in this case they won't have to pay the rent, so that would decrease to 770 euros. Let's say for in our case, for someone if he lives in Belgrade, then the apartment might be even 5, 6, 700 euros, even to 1k. So that depends, where do you want to live, how much money do you have, what's your budget. And lastly, we have a section that's called how much could we have saved up. So basically, we took some numbers out of each of the columns, each of the stores, each of the categories, eating out, rent, utilities, like something we don't really need, and we added them up here. So total, it comes up to 240, let's say approximately $240 or 214 euros. And the final table, who takes this into account, monthly cost if we saved more. If we don't pay rent, if we have our own house and our apartment, and we were saving up, we wouldn't really spend money on food recklessly, only buy sweets, let's say a few times a month, not spend too much money. Our monthly cost would be 556 euros for 2 people, or this amount in dollars. If still you are visiting, let's say, and you're on a budget, you are saving up, and you also have to pay for rent because you're not from here. In that case, the number is going to be something like this, 866 euros. This, as I mentioned a few times in this video, just applies to not really going out too much in restaurants, just living normally, not living in Belgrade, going to some smaller city, because we are talking about average Serbian life here, let's say for 2 people. So these would be the final numbers here. So that would be all for this video. I hope you find it interesting and useful. In the near future, I am planning to make a video about prices comparison between Bosnia and Herzegovina and Serbia. It's going to be interesting. It's going to compare prices generally from the big store chains. If you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you till next time. Bye bye.